In this video, we're going to be talking about kinetic assays. The key to running any type of kinetic assay is to make sure that you are organized before you begin, because once you start the reaction, you cannot stop it. So before we begin, this is a typical setup that we have for any type of kinetic assay. Over here, we have our enzyme. Make sure your enzyme is always stored on ice to keep it at the highest activity possible. You want to have your pipettes for doing your dispensing, as well as any tips, parafilm to cover the tubes for mixing, any waste container for pipette tips or liquids, test tubes, however many you need. And in this case, we'll be running a discontinuous assay, so we'll be adding a base, sodium hydroxide, and this will stop the reaction. It will be in a dispensing bottle, meaning it's already set to 5 mils, so that I will always be dispensing 5 milliliters. Check and make sure everything is in order, everything is ready to go before you begin your experiment. So in this case, we'll be doing a time course reaction. How this works is we will be having our substrate in our tube, we'll be adding our enzyme, and at various time points we'll be removing aliquots out of the reaction mixture and placing it into pre-measured amounts of sodium hydroxides to stop the reaction at that particular time. After the reaction is done, you can then measure the progress of the reaction by spectroscopy or whatever method that is outlined in your procedure. So before we begin, make sure you have your substrate all ready to go in your test tube. You have your enzyme on ice ready to go, and you have your pipette at the correct amount that you need to add. Your test tubes filled with your sodium hydroxide. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. Just take a test tube, put it in the nozzle, press down on the dispenser, and that's your 5 milliliters of your sodium hydroxide. And I'm just going to do it again. So these are our test tubes with 5 mils of sodium hydroxide to stop our assay. Once you're ready to begin, have your pipette ready, take your enzyme, withdraw the amount that you need. Make sure that once you're done, return your enzyme to ice. Take your substrate, add your enzyme, and this is where you might have to work a little bit quickly. Cover your tube with parafilm. Mix by inversion, start the timer right away. Allow the reaction to run, and at specified time points, take some solution out of your reaction mixture and place it in your sodium hydroxide. So for example, I want to take an aliquot out at the 30-second mark. At 30 seconds, I would remove an aliquot, and dispense it into my sodium hydroxide. Take another piece of parafilm, cover it, mix by inversion, and that's all there is to that reaction. If I want to do another one at a 1 minute mark, again, I do the same thing. When the timer reaches 1 minute, take out an aliquot from your reaction mixture, place it in your sodium hydroxide to stop the reaction. Take a piece of parafilm, mix by inversion, and you have another time point. Continue this process until you have your reaction at different time points.
Remember guys, safety first. Don't forget your goggles, lab coat, gloves, proper footwear. Common sense might be a good asset too. Before coming into lab, make sure you read your lab. And when in doubt, Always, always, always consult your TA. See you next time.